Hello everyone, it's DuckFairy07. Today we are playing regular zoo with Orcish Bowmasters after a longer period of time. I created this list after Lord of the Rings and did great with it back then. And back then I called it the best zoo variant, but then Preordained got unbanned, and then I created the Preordained version, zoo version with Tarmogoyf. And at the moment the Preordained version was like performing really well, but then the ring came to the format, became very popular, and then the beans came and became even more popular, and the Bowmaster was getting better and better. And so the zoo became one of the decks that can utilize the Bowmaster and fit it in very well, and it's already good. It was already a good deck in the format, and thanks to the Bowmaster, it got even better and got a lot of good results in the last month. Okay, so I didn't feel like I need to create a new zoo video because the list was already doing so well, and people got many good results with this one and the preordained version. But now I felt like a deck needs some updates, and primarily to the sideboard. Okay, so the Flusterstorm card was getting less and less relevant over the last few months, and basically at this moment I haven't played against Living End on the Magic Online for like months. I think in last 2 months I maybe played like 2 or 3 matches against Living End, and after the beans came into the format, Rhinos also started to get playing less and less, and the zoo already has a decent Rhino matchup, and I think at the moment that Reprieve is better fit for the sideboard than the Flusterstorm. Literally, I don't see bringing myself Flusterstorm in, maybe 1 in the 10 games max. I don't think that is good enough. I think Reprieve has much more use at the moment. Reprieve is a card good against Yawgmoth, it's good against Amulet Titan. It goes around Cavern of Souls, it successfully tempos out the Yawgmoth by returning their 4 mana spells or Chord of Callings to the hand. And they have those big mana spells that you can very easily steal their turn, draw a card, and then untap and finish the game. Okay, so a lot of decks like this currently in the format. For these decks I include decks like Tron, of course, which have big mana, Amulet. Yawgmoth also has a lot of spells like that, but also the 4 color piles which play the One Ring and Omnath and Pitch Elementals. So Reprieve can also be useful there. Okay, so what else? I think at this moment, at the recording of the video, Scam is still 20% of the metagame, and I think people keep ditching these cards from the sideboard, Celestial Purges and Chain to the Rocks. Chain to the Rocks, overall, after I included it at the beginning, it became like a staple to the sideboard. It's a very useful card. For 1 mana, gets rid of the Murktide, gets rid of Scam Elemental. They don't really have a good way to get rid of it, but I think if Scam is 20% of the meta and a matchup is slightly unfavored for Zoo, I think we need abundant Cyber Hate, and Chain to the Rocks and Celestial Purge are one of the best available hates for that deck. Celestial Purge not only kills exiles everything in their deck, but also takes care of Blood Moon, which is very important in the matchup. Okay, so other than that, Graveyard Hate, Reprieve instead of Flusterstorm, so I talked about that. We always had like 4 of these artifact enchantment removals, and I trimmed Hiretsugu Consumes All to 1 off because we have like a Chain to the Rocks, we have for this artifact enchantment removal, and Hammer Time is really not as popular as it was, and Hiretsugu was always primarily Hammer Hate. Now it's primarily Scales Hate, but I think I'd rather have like stuff like Tira Sunder and Chain to the Rocks in that matchup anyway. Okay, so that is it. Also one of Dromoka in the main discard. I think it's very good at the moment. Everybody's playing Fable, Leyline Binding, up the Beanstalk or Scales or stuff like that, and this is a great one-off for the deck. It always was, and I think it is good time to play that card. One-off Spell Snare on the sideboard. I think this is great additional counter when you're playing against the Beanstalk. 1 mana when you're on the draw, counter the Beanstalk, and it can definitely win you the games. I think this is my option. This is my choice for a 5th 1 mana counter in this build, and that is it. Okay, so let's go to the gameplay and see how it went. Okay, so match 1, playing first, keeping decent hand, nothing special, but in these situations when I have Scion of Draco and Wild Nacatl, I always play a Scion of Draco. So obviously my opponent is playing Valakut. So this is either the Gruul Valakut, or it can be Gruul Valakut or Folk Coral. Obviously, opponent is probably on Gruul Valakut, and so I definitely want to play the Scion of Draco first because they can't really kill it, and it's better. It's much easier for me to slam the Scion. Okay, so opponent goes for Acid Moss, killing my land, but that really doesn't matter that much because I have almost lethal, and I go for Ragavan there, and opponent doesn't have another removal, and that is it. Okay, so that is very quick game 1. Opponent was turn 2 slow, and of course Zoo was faster, and this is usually very good matchup for Zoo. Zoo loves playing against Escape Shift. Basically 1 or 2 counter spells plus some creatures very easily win this game. Okay, so let's see the sideboard plan. Orcish Bowmaster is pretty much terrible, and almost anything is better than Orcish Bowmaster in this matchup. I just want big creatures attacking and some interaction like Reprieve. I think Reprieve is great here, and yeah. Okay, so I went for Territorial Kavu attack, discarding a card, play the Scion of Draco. Next turn is probably going to be the relevant turn, so I want to attack and hold the Reprieve, putting my opponent on 7 life. I have multiple ways of doing lethal, and they try to kill my Kavu, but I go for the Reprieve to return it to hand. Even if they kill it, I have lethal with bolts, so that was very quick win in match 1, and let's check out another one. Okay, so this was match 2. Okay, so in the match 2, again keeping decent hand. I don't have at the moment domain on turn 2, but I have Territorial Kavu on turn 2, and then I can hopefully discard a card, find the third land I need. Okay, opponent finding Sacred Triome means they're playing Rhinos. So since they're playing Rhinos, I didn't want to let them resolve it, so I passed the turn holding the Stubborn Denial. Opponent had to go Sorcery Speed, Crashing Footfalls, so I was able to Stubborn Denial it. So after I got rid of the first Footfalls, I definitely want to cast my Kavu here, because now they probably have 1 mana extra to play around Stubborn Denial, so there's no point in not playing Kavu. Okay, so yeah, I definitely need that land to give me full domain here, so I can cast my Scions, and I was able to do it. I find the land, and I play another Kavu. Now my Kavus are 4/4, but opponent has Subtlety, Subtlety is pretty good, but I think like I prefer subtlety here to them getting the rhinos, but I decide to go for the Scion of Draco anyway. Even if they go for rhinos, I have binding plus tribal flames. But yeah, kind of Fury was even better than rhinos in this situation, killing my Scion. But I was able to I was able to kill the Fury, play another Kavu, attack for 5, put my opponent on 7 life, which means I have very close to lethal next turn. And even if they resolve the rhinos in this situation, I have I have 2 5/5s, so I'm pretty good. And opponent goes for Otawara Bounce Fury. So they kill my Scion again, unfortunately, and I decide to trade with one of the Furies and kill the subtlety, so basically Shardless jumps my second Kavu. Now my opponent is on 6 life, I'm still holding the Stubborn Denial and Tribal Flames, so I have a kill on my turn, protected by a Stubborn. And another Kavu from top is really good, so I go for the attacks. Opponent has the Cascade spell, but I have a Stubborn Denial, they don't have mana to counter my counter, so I attack, put them on 1 life, finish them off with Tribal Flames, and that is the game. Okay, so let's check out the game 2. Okay, so let's check out my sideboarding plan. Of course, Reprieve is pretty good in this matchup, same as Flusterstorm is. Returning Crushing Footfalls to hand always feels great. And as I said, like Orcish Bowmasters is really bad in this matchup. But yeah, so we now see that there are definitely some matchups where Orcish Bowmaster is not good. And this is definitely one of those. Like a 2 mana, 1/1 body is definitely not what you want against rhinos. So, but yeah, okay, so I want reprieves from the side. Mostly that is like my main sideboard card. I also boarded in Celestial Purge as a Blood Moon a solution that can also deal with Fury. It's not a great solution, but it is a solution. I was in a very good position here with reprieve in hand and Stubborn Denial there. Okay, so I had multiple options. I went for reprieve on Footfalls, drawing a card. Opponent resolves a Shardless. I can bolt this if I want, or I can just go for face. I decide to Leyline Binding the Shardless agent, so I can go for 3 with Nacatl and then finish my opponent with burn spells. I think that was the easiest plan here, so I went for Tribal Flames and Bold Face, finish my opponent off, and that was a very quick game and another win. And let's check out match 3. Okay, so this is a pretty weird keep, but at the moment matchups are like that I don't really expect to. I play a lot of mono black coffers and a lot of scam matchups. I think in a lot of situations keeping 3 Leyline Bindings can end up being pretty good, cause you end up losing stuff from your hand anyway if they go Grief Scam. Okay, so I went for a Nishoba Brawler here, and I was able to play very well around their land destruction. So they had Urborg, which made it easy for me to get all land types, and I was able to attack with Nishoba for 5, casting my Territorial Kavu and holding mana for binding. They kill my Sacred Foundry, but still I had all 5 land types. And yeah, I was able again to just cast another Kavu and still hold the Leyline Binding. I also had another land in hand. Okay, opponent plays Sheldred, I go for Leyline Binding and I have Lethal in the swing back. So that was pretty quick win against Mono Black. Okay, usually the Mono Black is among hardest matchup for Zoo because they have so much removal. Okay, let's check out my sideboarding plan here. I sideboarded out the Dromoka command because it doesn't do anything in this matchup. 2 Ragavans, I always side out Ragavans when playing against Orcish Bowmasters and always side out 2 of them. Trimmed 1 bolt, I think that is enough. Okay, so opponent has Sheldred the Edict, and I had options here. I was able to sack the Wild Nacatl or Bowmaster, but I decided to keep the Nacatl. Nacatl does a lot more damage, and I went for a binding here on Stone of Ferrec. It seemed to me that they're somehow like struggling with the cards there. I didn't want to let them that extra draw, and I went for a phase here, Tribal Flames phase, and attacked for 4, holding mana for Stubborn Denial, but opponent got another land and they were able to resolve the One Ring. I wasn't able to Stubborn Denial it, but I think this was fine. Opponent was on 4 life, just 2 cards in hand, 1 counter on ring, which means they're very close to dying next turn. They draw 2 more, go for Demolition Field and play the Sheldred. So yeah, that's pretty good for them, but they have to survive another turn, and they had the removal spell they needed to kill my attacker, and that was it for me. I wasn't able. They gained bunch of life on their turn with the ring draws, and that is the game. Okay, so let's check out the game 3. Okay, so I think this is a pretty good hand. Okay, so on the play, no changes. Same sideboarding plan. Obviously, yeah, I definitely want to go for Territorial Kavu here. Opponent unfortunately plays 4 Fatal Pushes, and they also have Shielded Edicts and Blood Chief Thirsts. So a lot of answers to Territorial Kavu, but yeah, now on turn 3 I can play Kavu and hold interaction and hold a Stubborn Denial to protect it. So this is much better situation for me when playing on the play. So I was able to now start attacking with Kavu. Of course they got the Bowmaster trigger from my Kavu, but that is just not relevant in this situation. Their creatures, their Bowmasters are just jump blockers. And yeah, so I went for the Brawler, which has trample here, so it can be pretty relevant. I went for Tear Asunder, exiling Orcish Bowmasters, so I can use my Territorial Kavu ability without letting them the Bowmaster pings. So I went for the attack and did the Kavu ability again. They tried to kill my Nishoba Brawler with March, and so I use Stubborn Denial to protect it, put my opponent on 10 life, and that is almost lethal for the next turn if they don't have a removal, and they're all just on 2 cards in hand. So I go for the attacks again. putting my opponents to 2 life, finishing them off with Bolt, and that is the match. Okay, so let's check out the match 4. Okay, so in the match 4, playing second, I think this was decent hand. I went for Ragavan on turn 1 here, and opponent had Metallic Rebuke. You don't see this that much in affinity decks, but this opponent had it. So they went for turn 2 Urza Saga into Springleaf Drum into Thoughtcast. That is pretty strong start for the opponent, and I didn't have much options. I could go for either Territorial Kavu or Orcish Bowmaster here. Bowmaster can be pretty good against opponent's deck because they do a lot of draw card abilities, and yeah. Okay, so I went to attack with Kavu here, but opponent decides to block with Construct, which wasn't a good plan. I was able to play the Bowmaster, kill the Havermite, make their Construct 4/4, and my Kavu survives. Still, I was able to hold the Bolt and the Stubborn Denial for their turn. Okay, so, but they didn't play anything relevant, they just made the construct and passed the turn, meaning to do another Urza Saga activation. They make another construct, so now they have 2 5/5s, which is a lot. I do another redraw with Kavu, opponent decides not to block. So I just played the Nishoba Brawler and passed the turn holding 2 Stubborn Denials. But now opponent has 9 constructs, and yeah, this went out of control, and I'm not able to keep up with this without hate, and that's it. That's the win for them in game 1. Okay, so in the game 2, let's see my sideboarding plan. Of course, I want artifact, enchantment, destruction from the side. So and I also want the Hiretsugu. So I board in a lot of my 1-drops, 4 Nacatls out, 1 Ragavan, and got Hiretsugu in. I got all the artifact hate I have. Okay, and yeah, that's it. Trim on 2 Stubborn Denials too. Okay, that was all. Okay, so I had some options here. I decided to cut their mana and hold Orcish Bowmaster. As already said, Orcish Bowmaster can be pretty good against them. There's a chance they're holding Metallic Rebuke again like last game, but I guess they didn't have it. So I decided to use Tribal Flames to kill Emery and not to use Leyline Binding just yet. So opponent had a removal for Bowmaster there, but I was able to connect with Ragavan, play Territorial Kavu, and play opponent's Shadow Spear. So opponent was not in a great situation right now, but they did succeed to resolve Thought Monitor while my Bowmaster was not in the play. And yeah, so I took their only creature that could block Ragavan and attack with everything. So if they block my Orc Army token, I can just play the Bowmaster. Yeah, they decided to jump the Kavu and let Ragavan through. This meant I have 2 mana on their turn to use Tear Asunder, but I got the Havermite, so I played it. It was very good because I got to kill the Urza Saga immediately, and now my opponent had just a single card in their hand. It was Nettlecyst, which was no problem for my double artifact hate in my hand. And yeah, so now this was over. I had too much stuff on the field and they had literally nothing, and that was it. So let's check out game 3. Always fun games with Zoo. You're going so quick through the league. And yeah, okay, so deck is pretty efficient and fast to play. You can like complete the entire league in 1.5 hours, maybe a bit more. Okay, so I went for turn 1 Ragavan here. Bowmaster can be pretty good against them, but at this point I didn't have black mana. But I went for a bolt on Havermite, made them use the welding jar, and then connect with Ragavan to get that black mana I wanted. So I was able to kill the Havermite with my Bowmaster, pass the turn. Yeah, unfortunately, I misclicked turn 1. Yeah, this can be very costly. I wanted to get Sacred Foundry, but accidentally I misclicked and clicked on Stevens. It's this kind of misclicks can be very costly in a zoo deck. It almost costed me the game. I had 2 white spells in my hand that I was not able to play, and yeah, so this can be a real problem. But I had Bowmasters on the field, and that is like really big problem for them. So I was able to kill the Ornithopter when they cast the Totcast. So now I was able to continue attacking, get the Bowmaster to kill the Memnite and cast my Territorial Kavu. I get a lot of power on the field. Opponent just 2 cards right now. So I go for the attack. They let me connect. I deal a lot of damage here. I had multiple options. I let them resolve their Urza Saga, and next turn I have multiple options. So opponent goes for Urza Lord High Fisher. I kill Exile Urza in response to construct creation, so they can't use mana from their created construct. They went for attack here, and I have Hiretsugu in my hand to clear their entire board. I even don't need Hiretsugu. I have a very good situation even without it, but it's so nice to do this. I decided just to go for it, clear their entire board, and they have no chance coming back after that, and that is the match. Okay, so let's check out the last one. The last match was pretty brutal. I never seen anything like this. Okay, I was playing against Mill, and as you can see, I got pretty unlucky with the with mulligans. First match I was starting first and had to mulligan to 5, and opponent had incredible hand of turn 1 into double Archive Trap into Fatal Push, and I was already on 26 cards in my deck, and they milled a lot of my lands, so I was not able to go for Breeding Pool, so I had to wait turn 3 for Territorial Kavu, and they had Drowning Lock to kill my Kavu, and then turn 3 into Tasha Hideous Laughter. Perfect hand for my opponent. And Tasha is not that great against Zoo, but that second one hit very well. And yeah, I only had 2 cards left in my library and no lands, unfortunately, and opponent got the top deck. They needed the Hedron Crab. I had Stubborn Denial, so if they played a spell I could Stubborn Denial it, then go for Tribal Flames on my turn and be very close to lethal, but I was not able to do anything about Crab, and that was it. Okay, so let's check out game 2. I had an incredible game against Mill. I'm not sure if this was that one. Can't remember exactly. Okay, but here I started with Ragavan, and they again had double Archive Trap. On turn 0 I'm already on 26 cards in my deck, and opponent goes turn 1 Surgical my Kavu, and I just draw Kavu, so they take my Kavu, which was terrible, just terrible. It was like the greatest draw I could have, and I did get it, and opponent still had a surgical to exile it from my hand. It was pretty brutal hand from my mill opponent. It was one of the best hands I saw. Okay, so I still had Ragavan here, and I had Stubborn Denial. So I went for a Giganta hand. Next turn I can play Giganta again, but they already milled my other basics, so I was not able to find a land here, which disabled me from playing a Giganta next turn. Actually, I did have mana to play it. Okay, so I went for a Ragavan attack, connected again, holding Stubborn Denial entire time to protect it. So now I must choose between Stubborn Denial, holding Stubborn Denial and Giganta, but they have another Field of Ruin, which means they can just Field of Ruin me again, and then I will be in a weird situation again. So opponent goes for field and goes for Ghost Quarter, killing all of my lands except plains. So now I had Leylines in my hand, I had a Bolt, but yeah, I was in a bad situation because it was hard for me to cast my bindings, and I had problems casting anything, and they bounced my Giganta, which was very good for them. So I was able to continue attacking with Ragavan, so actually pretty decent situation right now. I played my Nishoba Brawler, but my Stubborn Denial was not supported here, so I was not. I maybe should have played the Stubborn Denial there to prevent them from playing Ruin Grab. But yeah, it didn't seem as a good play. So now they were able to block my Ragavan, and I was not able to connect with it. So this made it hard for me to play my other binding, and opponent top decks Fractured Sanity for the win, and that was it. Yeah, opponent kind of just had the nuts, and I was not able to do anything about that. Because they had that also had that land destruction and 2 traps on turn 1 in both games, and that's just not much you can do about this. It's kind of best hand they could have, and that's it. Okay, so I feel like this deck is performing great again against a lot of decks currently popular in the format. I think deck is very well positioned right now. It has some bad matchups, it has some good matchups, but overall it's still very good. It's better than it was before, and I really like. I think at the moment the Bowmaster version is the best one, but I also think the preordained Goth version is very viable, very good also, very close. But the beans and the ring are so omnipresent at the moment that probably Bowmaster is too good. But as you could see, in a lot of matchups in this league I had to board out the Bowmasters because they were not good enough. But that is okay when you have this good sideboarding plan. They are not that useless in a game 1 that you lose because of them, but they are not good enough in a game 2 and 3. And yeah, that's it. Okay, so just a friendly reminder to click like, click subscribe, and thank you for watching until now, and that's it for today. Goodbye.